Truth talk.
It's always talking.
You just gotta listen.
Real talk that we talk about. It's always talking.
You just gotta listen.
Real talk that we talk about. It's always talking.
You just gotta listen.
Real talk that we talk about. It's always talking.
You just gotta listen.
Guess who's back? Your favorite podcast, Truth Talks. I'm your host, Crazy Bone.
What's happening? I'm the co-host, Keith G.
As always, thank y'all for tuning in and lending us your ear. We greatly appreciate it. Always appreciate that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And today we got another good one for y'all today, as always. And we in the back in the book, the Bible, God's Word of Man's. Mm-hmm. And we are in chapter 10 of this book now.
Chapter 10.
Yeah, and this chapter is similar to the last one.
Right.
Because we will again be speaking about prophecies. And in chapter 9 we talked about prophecies that came true and back in Bible times. But today the chapter we're going to discuss is Bible prophecy you have seen fulfilled.
Okay.
You done saw it with your own eyes. And we're going to remind you. Okay, so getting right into it, it says the chapter intro says, have you ever wondered why things are so different today compared with the way they were 100 years ago? Some things are better. In many lands, disease that killed in the past are now routinely cured, and the average person enjoys a standard of living undreamed of by his ancestors. On the other hand, our century has seen the worst wars and some of the worst atrocities in all history. Mankind's prosperity, even his continued existence, is threatened by a population explosion, a pollution problem, and a vast international stockpile of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. Mm-hmm. Why is the 20th century so different from previous centuries? The first paragraph says, the answer to this question has to do with the remarkable Bible prophecy that you have seen fulfilled. It is a prophecy that Jesus himself uttered, and that, besides giving proof of the inspiration of the Bible, indicates that we are living close to very dramatic changes in the world scene. What is this prophecy? And how do we know that it is being fulfilled? Right. Now, keep in mind that when we're going through this book, that this book was published in the 20th century. We now living in the 21st century, and a lot of things in this world has changed. But as we read, you will see that things have not necessarily changed for the better. In fact, we have seen some things actually get worse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And actually, we've seen some things that happen now that was worse than the things that happened back then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So, man has they've created all this technology to communicate and travel abroad and do all this stuff. But all the man creations, they have yet to figure out how to gain true peace and security. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
Yeah, so as we get into this, it's going to break down a lot. This chapter breakdowns a lot, just to prove to you, that you're watching these prophecies be fulfilled right in front of your eyes. And you got to pay close attention to it. Okay, so the next subhead says, Jesus' great prophecy. The Bible tells us that shortly before Jesus' death, his disciples were discussing the great temple buildings in Jerusalem. They were impressed by their size and apparent durability. But Jesus said, do you not behold all these things? Truly I say to you, by no means will a stone be left here upon a stone and not be thrown down. Jesus' disciples must have been surprised at his words and later came to him for more information, saying, tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your presence and of the conclusion of the system of things? Jesus answers, answer is found in the remainder of Matthew chapter 24 and 25. His words are recorded too in Mark chapter 13 and Luke chapter 21. This was clearly the most important prophecy uttered by Jesus while he was on earth. So the disciples wanted to know, they wanted to know how all this was going down. So they came to him and they asked, when would all these things be, and what will be the sign of your presence and of the conclusion of things? And like I said, you can find Jesus' answers to those questions as well in the books of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. You should definitely read them on your own. We're gonna discuss some of it here, but you should definitely take some time to read it on your own.
Oh yeah,
and meditate on it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's actually some real good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it really is, man.
Some of the reading some of the accounts in the Bible. Is how you caught up, bro. Like you was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be picturing myself being there. Like,
yeah, and that's the part. That's where it's supposed to go to, not just to and like I said, we was talking before, and you'll read something just to say you read it. You know what I'm saying? Like you used to do homework or whatever it is. But once you start, the Lord's Spirit gets you to being thirsty for wanting to see His Word. Shoot, it does turn into a little story.
It do.
You know what I'm saying? You like,
and it get deep.
Yeah. You like deep. It, not just gotta eat broccoli. It ain't broccoli. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so jumping to the next 3 paragraphs, it says, in fact, Jesus' disciples were asking about more than one thing. First, they raised the question, when will these things be? That is, when will Jerusalem and its temple be destroyed? Further, they wanted to know the sign that would indicate that Jesus' presence as king of God's heavenly kingdom had begun and that the end of the system of things was at hand. In his answer, Jesus took both points into consideration. Many of his words were actually fulfilled back in the first century, during the years that led up to the terrible destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. But his prophecy was to have an even greater significance later, in our own days, in fact. What then did Jesus say? He began by uttering the words recorded in Matthew 24, verses 7 and 8. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Mm-hmm. And there will be food shortages and earthquakes in one place after another.
Yep.
All these things are a beginning of pains of distress. Clearly, Jesus' presence as heavenly king would be marked by great turmoil on earth. This is confirmed by a parallel prophecy found in the book of Revelation, the vision of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The first of these horsemen pictured Jesus himself as conquering king. The other riders with their steeds pictured happenings on earth that marked the beginning of Jesus' reign. War, famine, and untimely death through various agents. Do we see these 2 prophecies fulfilled today? So, first of all, when Jesus' disciples asked him the questions they wanted to know, they wanted to know a few things. They wanted to know when was Jerusalem and the temple going to fall, and they wanted to know when would he begin ruling as king in the heavens.
Yeah, he take time with them just like he always do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He hit the fellas up with it. That ain't my time definitely to be giving out that. None but the Father knows. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not even me. None of the angels in heaven know, and I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the Father. So he hit him off with that one. You know what I'm saying? Which is correct. And then he let him know about the he did let him know about the signs and the mysteries. Of things and signs to see about his return. It says not just that time yet, but you'll know that those are the starts of those things. When you see hear rumors of wars and earthquakes in diverse places and famines, like you said, and stuff like that. A child against mother, and all of that kind of stuff that's going on. Everything that's cracking right now. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, but the advancements of the Antichrist himself, you know what I'm saying, is really going down. You can see all of it.
And like it says, many of what he said in his prophecy was fulfilled in the first century when Jerusalem and the temple was destroyed. And we know that happened. We actually talked about that. on the last episode in 70 CE. We just talked about that, and we talked about the evidence that was found that it was destroyed. And
all of that's even recorded, not even only just destroyed, even proof that the people fled the city. They fled the whole place,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Then came back to it, which I know you'll probably get to. But yeah, dog, I mean, that's
true.
It's documented already too. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like we just digging up something. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And like it says in the prophecy, in this prophecy that we talking about, it said it had great meaning for our day. You know what I'm saying? And what it said about that, it says that in the scripture, it says nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there would be food shortages and earthquakes in one place after another. These are the beginning of the pains of distress. So he was basically telling us that once you see all these crazy things taking place in the world, that would be the sign to indicate that Jesus has began. He's running it.
Actually, well, it's a situation of like, those are the beginnings of me coming soon. You know what I'm saying? I don't actually just came, because you're going to see when he come in, just by going from Revelation only and from the word only. You know what I'm saying? When he comes and he reigns, it's a noticeable situation.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying this is when he began ruling as king in heaven. This is when he took his throne. And we're going to get into some more of this proof. Revelation 6:1-8, it was a vision given. Of 4 horsemen, and to each of these, you know what I'm saying, and it talked about what was granted to them. You know what I'm saying? They was granted to do chaos on the earth in the time of the end.
Yeah.
They were to bring war and famine and untimely death in all kinds of ways. You know what I'm saying? And meaning we've seen people lose life all kinds of ways, accidental, purposely, by sickness, suicides. There's no shortage of ways of death. We've seen it all happen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
living
real.
on this earth, you've seen it all happen. You know what I'm saying? But we can see that these two prophecies today are being fulfilled. So we can read a little further. It says, the next subheading says war. Let us look at them more closely. First, Jesus said, nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. This was a prophecy of war. The second of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse similarly prefigured war. We read, another came forth, a fiery colored horse, and to the one seated upon it there was granted to take peace away from the earth, so that they should slaughter one another. And a great sword was given him. Now, mankind has been fighting wars for thousands of years.
Yep.
Why then should these words have a special significance in our day? Remember that war on its own is not the sign of Jesus' presence. The sign is made up of all the details of Jesus' prophecy happening in the same general time period. But war is the first feature mentioned. So we might expect that this feature would be fulfilled in an outstanding way that would catch our attention. And everyone must admit that the wars of this 20th century are unparalleled in all previous history.
Oh yeah.
So when
That's for sure.
basically when Jesus said the nation would rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, that this was a prophecy of war.
Yeah.
And this other horse showed up, the fiery colored horse, and to the rider of this horse, it was granted to take peace away from the earth,
Right.
so that they would slaughter one another. And this is exactly what we've been seeing in the world
Yeah.
ever since all of us was born. Not some of us, all of us. Now, a lot of people might say, yeah, they've been fighting wars for thousands of years, so why should we worry about the wars of our times? What makes them so special? And notice what it said at the beginning of that second paragraph we just read. It says, remember that war on its own is not the sign of Jesus' presence. And then it says that his sign is made up of all the details of Jesus' prophecy happening in the same time period. We can just look at all the wars that have taken place in the past and the wars of our day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's been a gang of them.
bro, yeah, and you know, like I said, there have been wars back in the day, but the wars that we see now,
Yeah, at no time during any of those histories, they're gonna commit, some gruesome acts. You know what I'm saying? They killing up close and all that, but they, with the technology that is here today, you know what I'm saying, has been here for the last 20 or 30 years, which is, capable of, shooting something from this place to another place without even being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
indeed.
I understand what you're saying. With the capabilities of what they have now, it's more of this war is more detrimental, if you will. You know what I'm saying, to humans by volume.
it is. And then and then he said that all the features of his prophecy, everything that he said would be happening, you would know that we were in the last days because they would all be happening simultaneously at the same time, in the same time period. We see everything that he told us about happening right now. The wars,
Yep.
the famines, the food shortages.
Yeah.
We finna talk about all that. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not
Hate.
everything.
People turning away from God. You know what I'm saying?
It's real. You know what I'm saying? So getting to the next paragraph, it says, for example, no earlier wars, cruel and destructive as many were, came even close to the destructiveness to the two world wars of the 20th century. Why? The First World War eventually caused 14 million fatalities, more than the entire population of many countries. Truly, there was granted to take peace away from the earth, so that they should slaughter one another. According to prophecy, a great sword was given to the warlike second horseman of the apocalypse. How does that apply? In this, weapons of war became far more deadly, equipped with the tank, the airplane, deadly poison gas, submarines, and artillery that could fire explosive shells over several miles. Man became more efficient in killing his neighbor. And since the First World War, the great sword has become even more destructive, owing to the use of such things as radio communications, radar, sophisticated rifles, bacteriological and chemical weapons, flamethrowers, napalm, new types of bombs,
All that.
intercontinental ballistic missiles, nuclear submarines, advanced airplanes, and huge battleships.
Man.
Yo,
They strapped. They look
Bro.
weapons.
so it's very obvious, bro, that this prophecy of war is being fulfilled right in front of our eyes. None of these previous wars before the 20th century, like we just said, even came close to what World War I and World War II did. 14 million fatalities in the First World War. More than an entire population of some countries, bro.
No doubt. Hey,
Look at the second one. 50 million.
yeah, that's a lot. And you can tell, man, what's going on in this world, the way people acting, the way that they prescribing things to our children. You know what I'm saying? The people that they putting in front of them to call them their heroes and their images that they want them to mimic. You know what I'm saying? From that to the access of how you can go on the internet and get anything.
Bro.
All this human trafficking that's going on. It's a lot of things going on at one time that's just cracking right now in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So with all those, not only the earthquakes and the weather and this changing, y'all see the weather right now in front of you. You know what it is in different states. Look around. Some places got weather that shouldn't have it this way. Some do got it another way.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying?
So a whole country of people died in World War One. You might as well say a whole country was wiped out in World War One.
Yeah.
Bro, that is ridiculous. And why did this happen? Because the technology that man created and these weapons of mass destruction made it more efficient for them to kill their neighbors, just like the paragraph said.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So notice how these prophecies is adding up. So the next subheading says, a beginning of pains of distress. The early verses of Jesus' prophecy conclude with these words. These things are a beginning of pains of distress. This was certainly true of the First World War. Its end in 1918 did not bring peace for long. It was soon followed by limited but vicious military actions in Ethiopia, Libya, Spain, Russia, India, and other lands. Then came the horrendous Second World War, which claimed some 50 million military and civilian victims. Moreover, despite periodic peace agreements and lulls in the fighting, mankind is still at war. In 1987, it was reported that 81 major wars had been fought since 1960.
Dang.
Killing 12,555,000 men, women, and children. The preparation. Hold on, wait.
Dang.
No, the year 1987 saw more wars being fought than any previous year in recorded history. Further military preparations and expenditures, now reaching a total of about $1 billion annually, distort the economy of the world. Jesus' prophecy of nation rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom is surely undergoing fulfillment. The red horse of war continues its ferocious ride through the earth. But what about the second aspect of the sign? Now, Jesus said that that these things would be a beginning of the pangs of distress. And after the First World War ended, in 1918, another barbaric wars happened in those countries that was mentioned. And then, like I said before, in the Second World War, 50 million people died. So that was that's
a lot of folks.
That's 5 more countries wiped out. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's 5 more countries right up. And despite all these peace agreements that that these men made, violence has not ceased. They didn't have so many peace agreements, but you see where we at today. This, and like I'm gonna keep bringing up, this book was written in the 20th century. We're in the 21st. Look what's going on today. It has not gotten any better. That's proof right there that it's going downhill, not up.
Oh, yeah. It'll continue to go like that, too. Man's ambition to do and carry out. See, they really think that it's their own plan they're carrying out, you know what I'm saying? But they're carrying out a custom-made plan for them that they accepted, and they don't even realize it. And this is what's going on right now.
And go ahead.
The spiritual wickedness in high places, doing this, provoking this and making sure that they agents is right there doing this and making sure it's right pretty much in front of you. You can't even see it.
Bro, these nations spend so much money on preparing for wars. $1 billion annually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But they disguise it as patriotism.
I mean, look what the president doing. Like I just saw him on TV. He sending 360-something billion to Ukraine and all that money, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, to go fight wars and for people to kill people. That's how much sense. Like, how much sense does that make? We got people over here that's homeless and starving. Do you know how many people $360 billion will feed? That would take everybody that's homeless off the streets in the world.
365 billion? Yeah, it sure would. That's a lot of snaps right there.
Bro.
Yeah.
But
that's enough. That's enough for at least half of them.
But they don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't want to go help people live, but they want to help people go kill people.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're going to flip that 300 because wars make a lot of money for some reason. You know what I'm saying? They got their military grants they be buying and all that stuff like that. It makes a lot of money.
Yeah, and people, and speaking of people starving and homeless, the next subheading says food shortages. It said Jesus foretold, and there will be food shortages in one place after another. Notice how this harmonizes with the ride of the third of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Of him we read, I saw, and look, a black horse, and the one seated upon it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice, as if in the midst of the four living creatures, say, a quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius. And do not harm the olive oil and the wine. Yes, severe food shortages. Is it possible that this prophecy is being fulfilled today, when some lands have achieved such high standards of living? A glance at the world as a whole leaves no doubt as to the answer. Historically, famine has been caused by wars and natural disasters. It is not surprising then that our century, which has had more than its shares of disasters and wars, has been plagued repeatedly with famine. Many parts of the earth have suffered such disasters since 1914. One report lists more than 60 major famines since 1914 in such widely separated lands as Greece, the Netherlands, the USSR, Nigeria, Chad, Chile, Peru, Bangladesh, Bango, Kampuchea, Ethiopia, and Japan. Some of these famines have lasted several years and caused millions of deaths. So, bro, prophecies never lie.
No, man. And, all jokes aside and stuff like that, what I'm saying? It's all still warnings to the people, you know what I'm saying? This is not the end, is what he said, but it's the beginning of those times. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a woman in labor pains. You know what I'm saying? The baby is coming. You know what I'm saying? But this time there ain't finna be no baby. You know what I'm saying? And it's really, for people not to look at it, but spiritually, a lot of people ain't even looking at nothing spiritually. You know what I'm saying? They looking at things carnally because that's the way people live. And that's the way they be trained to live. Chase money, do this and do that. Some of these things, unfortunately, you can't see around you. The crime element, the way the people is talking to one another, bro. It's people they blowing people's head off for nothing. I know that they always did that, but they ain't doing it in multitude like this. The kids is disrespectful, and it's on the same terms of what you're talking about right there. Kids is highly disrespectful. We was a little disrespectful in our day. We from the 70s, you know what I'm saying. But right now they doing it in a whole nother lane. You know what I'm saying? That's never been right there before. Not blaming them. It's just the element of time and what evil is going on right now. I mean, everybody got a part to play in their piece, but I'm saying the way things is cranked up, it's going fast. He wanted to be real fast right now. Same stuff going on, nothing new under the sun, but he wanted to be going fast right now. So people is really like tripping off this, man.
Yes, indeed. And I want to go back to the prophecy of the food shortage. The feature in this, you know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, like the prophecies never lie. They never lie, and they have never lied.
Never.
They always come true. If you look at the scene of the world, and the many people that die from starvation when there's enough food on this planet to feed everybody many times over, it's because these men choose to spend these billions of dollars on war and weapons. People go hungry. That money could be, like we said, that money could be used for food and housing people. But these governments, these governments and these world leaders, they're so obsessed with power and keeping power, they rather spend it on protecting their borders in their country. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, that's what it is, man. We've seen so many natural disasters that have left people without food and resources. So it's definitely being fulfilled in the way he said it would go down.
And
right before our eyes.
And it's getting worse, like you were saying earlier. This ain't even, it's going to get a lot worse than today is. Who knows
Yeah.
what even tomorrow is, you know? Because read on in Revelation and different places in Daniel and stuff like that, you know? Ain't none of this supposed to be scary to people because it's really actually a triumphant story. It's actually telling you about a victory that's been already won. You know what I'm saying? When you really look at it like that. So, you know, but
Yeah.
anyways, check it out, though, because looking at these signs at the time, it will kind of make you want to straighten your act up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? At least come closer to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's the purpose of these things, is to be like, you know, hey, daddy finna come home soon. Hey, big brother, like, daddy finna come home soon. You know, it's only a few times for you know it's finna, all right, it's getting dark. You know what I'm saying? That's where he really is finna come home soon. You know, you start looking at different things that, like, you know, this show done came on. All right, yeah, this around time daddy be come pulling up. Mr. Johnson done pulled up across the street. I better start acting, you know, let me tuck my, you know what I'm saying, get a little bit right. And not to just slide in there because you want a relationship with the Lord, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, hey, some of these signs of the time is letting you know, and he's letting you know kindly, hey, I'm coming back soon. And, you know, it's not going to be nice, you know what I'm saying, for those that didn't choose to believe in me and believe in what I did, believe I sent my son here. It's really not. And it's a simple thing that he leave a lot of time for. So with all of these prophecies and things that my man's reading about over there, those things is to make people who have already decided that Christ is their Lord happy. And for those that don't know what that is, to try to understand, and hopefully somebody can tell them what these things are, you know.
Most definitely. Going to the next paragraph, it says, although severe famines usually get wide publicity, after a while they pass and survivors gradually return to comparatively, okay, normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Comparative, I don't know.
It's there.
However, another more ominous type of food shortage has developed during the 20th century. This is less dramatic and therefore often ignored, but it persists year after year. This is a severe scourge of malnutrition that affects up to 1/5 of the population of planet and kills between 13 and 18 million people each year.
Dang.
In other words, this kind of food shortage regularly kills about as many people in 2 days as were killed at Hiroshima by the atom bomb.
Wow.
Indeed, every 2 years, there are more people who die from the effects of hunger than there were soldiers killed by World War I and World War II combined. Have there been food shortages in one place after the other since 1914? Yes, indeed. Bro, but look at the numbers. Look at the numbers of people that die from malnutrition yearly, bro.
Oh, that's a grip, man. I know that.
Between 13 to 18 million people die, bro, from a problem that can be solved if man would just stop being so greedy and hungry for power.
13 to 18 million?
13 to 18 million. And then it kills me how they try to look at the people, you know what I'm saying? Then it kills me how they try to look at the people that's starving and homeless as a problem.
Yeah.
You know, we got to fix this problem.
Yeah, that's how they look at them people.
They not the problem. The problem is the governments, these smart people, bro. It's crazy, bro.
No, you right on the right thing with that.
These statistics in 2 days, you know what I'm saying? This kind of food shortage has killed more people than was killed in Hiroshima. Bro, like,
and it's way out with the rules with all the fast food places or the regular food places. If they made food, they have to throw it away rather than being able to just give it to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, could
cold.
Could you imagine starving to death, bro? That's not a pleasant way to die, bro.
Man, nah. I just been regular call ourselves hungry. You know, when you just stomach start making noise and you just like, I'm hungry. You didn't ate already.
Oh, I definitely know what starving.
You know, you're getting close.
We're right next to it. But not to death, though.
Nah, man. Nah.
Because, like, you know, in our situation, like, you're not just gonna sit there and starve to death. You're gonna do something.
You're gonna fix it soon.
But in some places, it's just that impossible to come up. To come up on food, bro.
Yep.
when it don't have to be like that.
Nah, man.
It's just okay. We can move to the next subhead. But as y'all can see, all these things is happening. You know, this prophecy that was predicted in the Bible.
Oh yeah,
it's coming true. That's the whole point of this. It says the next subheading is earthquakes. Y'all, Californians,
and we in California.
Y'all know about them, like for real. It says on January 13th, 1915, when the First World War was just a few months old, an earthquake shook Abruzzi, Italy, and took the lives of 32,610 people. This major disaster reminds us that wars and food shortages during Jesus' presence would be accompanied by something else. There will be earthquakes in one place after another. As with war and famine, the Abruzzi earthquakes was just the beginning of pangs of distress. The 20th century has been a century of earthquakes, and thanks to the development of the news media, all mankind is very much aware of the devastation that they have caused. To mention a few, 1920 saw 200,000 die in an earthquake in China. In 1923, In 1923, some 99,000 died in a quake in Japan. In 1935, another quake killed 25,000 in what is now Pakistan, while 32,700 died in Turkey in 1939. There were 66,800 fatalities in the earthquake in Peru in 1970. And in 1976, some 240,000, or according to some sources, 800,000, died in Tangshan, China. More recently, in 1988, there were 25,000 who died in a powerful earthquake in Armenia. Surely earthquakes in one place after another. Not to mention these is ones not to mention the ones that we've seen take place in the 21st century, you know what I'm saying? But
it's been a lot of them over here, G.
Yeah, but all the proof is here, man. Like Jesus said that there would be earthquakes in one place after another. We've read about earthquakes happening in these places that they've never happened before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you gotta, you know what I'm saying? And it was an earthquake happened in Cleveland when I was in I think I was in like the 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? So, but just like I said, he said that there would be earthquakes in one place after another. He didn't say the place would be specific. They just happen to happen out here the most, but they can happen anywhere.
Oh yeah, they happen all over the spot. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be earthquakes.
He didn't put no cap on it.
Weather. That's what I was saying earlier. Where the weather going to be supposed to be, it'll mess around the snow here and be hot over there somewhere. So no, it ain't just. It's just we just known for that. But no. We ain't got the market on earthquakes. I don't want the market on earthquakes. Man.
Yeah, but because I remember the earthquake in Cleveland. I was in 6th grade. I was in school, and the city panicked, bro. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do. They called a fire drill, but you know what I'm saying, that didn't do no good because it's like, you know what I'm saying, like
straight up earthquake.
They just sent us all home.
And y'all never had one before that, really?
Yeah, they was like, y'all go home. We want none of your blood on our hands.
Look, we'll regroup tomorrow.
None of y'all blood on our hands. Y'all go home. Yeah. But one place after another. Like I said, he wasn't specific. It can happen anywhere.
And I'm really saying it too, man. Thank God for him leaving those things, because it's a lot of people that, they call it, whatever it is, backslide or whatever it is, or kind of not being, dedicated no more, whatever it is. Sometimes they'll know and they'll see these things and they'll say to themselves, you know what, I got to go, get myself, back in this, where you're not, I ain't gonna say nobody's out of good standards with the Lord once you believe in Christ, but it's things once you get under that and you know that it's things to do, and it's things that you know what I'm saying, you just don't want to be just like, oh, I'm on this, you know what I'm saying, if I could say it like that, it's like, you want to, that they'll make the practices no more, but what I'm saying is these different prophecies that come, when you able to see the sort of signs of the times, it should kind of reel you back in if you like, you kind of tripping a little bit.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, so jumping back into the paragraph, it says the next subheading is deadly plague. What the prophecy said about that. Another detail of Jesus' prophecy has to do with disease. The evangelist Luke, in his account, records that Jesus foretold in one place after another pestilences. This too harmonizes with the prophetic vision of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The fourth horseman is named Death. He pictures premature death from a number of causes, including deadly plague and the wild beasts of the earth. Back in 1918 and 1919, more than 1 billion people fell sick with the Spanish influenza, and more than 20 million died. The disease took more lives than did the Great War itself, and deadly plague or pestilence continues to afflict this generation. Despite many remarkable medical advances. Why is this? For one thing, poorer lands do not always enjoy the benefits of scientific progress. Poor people suffer and die of sicknesses that can be cured if more money would be made available. So, another sign that Jesus warned us about was the deadly plagues, when he said, in one place after the other there'll be pestilences.
Yep.
And the name of the fourth horseman is, death. He ride with the name Death, man. You know what I'm saying? And then death, and the way this prophecy describes it, it's crazy. Like, we definitely have seen this taking place with all these illnesses, as we're going to get into, all these crazy illnesses and all these pandemics and stuff that we go through, bro. It's all here. Like, we live in it. It's like we live in it. Why wouldn't we believe it? Like, we being affected by all of this.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we believe that, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you learn about it, why wouldn't you believe that it's true? Like, how could somebody say, like, this book has been around, these scriptures has been around and available for a very long time to people. Very long time.
Long time.
And it's the same story. It has been consistent. Nothing has changed. We have talked about that, and the proof is there from chapter 1 all the way to now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Basically.
It's public enemy number one. You know what I'm saying? As far as for the enemy. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And with all he runs the networks. He runs the music. He runs all of that. Everything, the publication, all of that. He's over all of that. He's in those people's minds that run the thing. You know what I'm saying? So, with that in mind, he's doing all he can by publication, by radio, by word of mouth to make people understand that this book is nothing at all. Mm-hmm. It's whoever's it is, whatever, you know what I'm saying, they come up with, it's going to make it like that. Well, that's going to be the lie of whatever it is to keep him away from it. Let some of it roll through on some things and make it look like it ain't obvious. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Have some
Indeed.
telling the truth, some not telling the truth. That's up to them, and they got to see God on that. But, that's what all this whole thing is about, man, because he knows the ends of these prophecies. See, the dude that's on the other side of this thing, and I wouldn't call him a rival to God, because it's not a rival. It's not like Dallas going up against Washington or nothing like that. This is a already battle that's done. You know what I'm saying? But with that, the prophecies, Satan knows these things. He knows all of this stuff is true that men don't even, take into consideration in their entire life. And that's the kind of thing that would get me. But I'm glad I'm not God. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you go in your entire life and you don't want to know nothing about me. You know what I'm saying? Or nothing not just so you can get brownie points or whatever it is, but you could really just be like, you know what? I know who you are. I do love your ways. You know what I'm saying? Coming to a point of that kind of thing. That's what he's trying to require from us.
Benefit from it.
Yeah. Not the other way of like, this is a forced thing or something you shouldn't do. But with the enemy knowing how powerful it is, that if we get close to our God like that, our Lord, it's a wrap, because you start to act like what you hang around. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't hang around him and don't feel you a part of the situation, he does that to try to keep people away from it. So he knows these times. He knows his time is short. That's why things is so fast right now as far as chaos.
Definitely. Getting back to this paragraph, it says, there's some 150 million people worldwide suffer from malaria. Some 200 million are infected with snail fever. Chagas disease afflicts about 10 million people. About 40 million suffer from river blindness. Acute diarrhea disease kills millions of people each year.
Right.
Tuberculosis and leprosy are still a significant health problem. Outstandingly, the poor of this world suffer from pestilences in one place after another.
Yeah.
But so do the wealthy. Influenza, for example, afflicts rich and poor alike. In 1957, one strand of influenza caused 70,000 deaths in the United States alone. In Germany, it is estimated that 1 person in 6 will eventually suffer from cancer. Sexually transmitted diseases also strike the wealthy and poor. Gonorrhea, the most frequently reported communicable disease in the United States, afflicts as many as 18.9% of the population of some parts of Africa. Syphilis, chlamydia, and genital herpes are some of the other pandemic sexually transmitted pestilences. So all these diseases that we've seen in our time, like being on the earth, even before our time, whether it's cancer, the flu, or this influenza that killed millions of people, even sexually transmitted diseases, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like those are pestilence. Like Jesus warned us about this in the prophecy, and ain't it proof enough for us to see all this stuff like this? It's full of them, but it's like the pot is overcooking. It's overcooking, and it's hanging out for everybody to see, but don't nobody notice that the pot is boiling over.
Yeah.
It's just like this big gigantic pot. You can see it bubbling. Everybody's walking past that. Ain't nobody gonna say, "Hey man, somebody check on that pot."
Shoot, people barely walking in traffic good without looking down at their cell phone. So to look up and try to see some of these signs or see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That's why everything is vying for their attention. Your attention is one of the most things that is sought after right now. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't pay attention. It's designed like that. It sounds like some old man type of stuff or whatever it is, but it's just exactly what it is. So when you're not paying attention is when things happen. And this world is designed they buying your attention. They want to know when you spend and who you exactly when, so they can sell something to you or promote something to you at that same time. They got it on there to know exactly. Look up something and see if you don't get a whole bunch of references without looking for them that day. But they'll send them to you. You know that. Oh yeah, they're looking for your attention for sure, definitely. So with that, you don't even pay attention to nothing like he just read about right there. You know what I'm saying? Since the beginning of the stuff he was reading. You know what I'm saying? Going over things about like what are going on, the things that have been happening since these wars, and you know what I'm saying, rumors of wars, and now we got more capable means of making more mass destruction with these wars. You know what I'm saying? Mm. The way that everything is right now, Hollywood or whatever it is, the films, the movies you watching, the sexual things they trying to push down our kids' throats. You know what I'm saying? The stuff they want to teach your kids in school. These is your kids, you know what I'm saying? They want to teach them about a boy ain't a boy and a girl ain't a girl in school. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We ain't attacking nobody, but I'm like, damn, that's not nothing you want to be teaching no kid. But that let me know this is what's going on in this world. I'm old enough to have watched people be in the same room. They're supposed to be married and everything, but on television they had them in 2 different beds, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. To now I don't even know what's in those beds right now. You know what I'm saying? They showing you everything. That's how subtle it went. If it was all right, why wasn't it right there in the beginning then? Yep, and back into the paragraph, it says, in recent years, the deadly plague of AIDS has also joined the list of pestilences. AIDS is a terrifying illness because, as of this writing, there is no cure in sight, and the number of its victims continue to increase. Dr. Jonathan Mann, director of the WHO, World Health Organization special program on AIDS, said, we also estimate that there are 5 to 10 million people in the world today infected with the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. According to one published estimate, the AIDS virus strikes a new victim each minute. Deadly plague indeed. But what about the prophecy of death by wild beasts? So
like I said, like I said earlier, like when this book was published in the 20th century, like it brings out, as of this writing, there is no cure for AIDS. Now, in the 21st century, they have come up with medicine that, can stop HIV from turning into full-blown AIDS, but there is no definite cure for it still, you know what I'm saying? And you would have to take medication as of right now, today, for the rest of your life to ensure that it doesn't become full-blown AIDS. You know what I'm saying? So it's still pretty much the pestilence you don't want to get. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is just more and then we we've seen in our lifetime, we've seen an entire world shut down because of COVID.
Yep, never happened before.
3.65 million died from COVID, bro. Again, the prophecy is true. Of course it is. Moving on to another aspect of it, it says the wild beasts of the earth. The fact is, when wild beasts are mentioned these days in the newspapers, it is because certain species are endangered or nearly extinct. The wild beasts of the earth are far more threatened by humans than humans are by them. Despite this, in some lands, wild animals such as tigers in India still take a steady toll on human lives. The Bible, however, draws our attention to another kind of wild beast that has caused real fear in recent years. The prophecy Ezekiel compared violent men to wild animals when he said, Her princes in the midst of her are like wolves, tearing prey and shedding blood, and destroying souls for the purpose of making unjust gain. When he prophesied an increasing of lawlessness, Jesus in effect was saying that such wild beasts would be active on earth during his presence. The Bible writer Paul adds that during the last days, men would be lovers of money, without self-control, fierce, without love of God. How such been the case since 1914? So when Jesus was speaking about the wild beasts of the earth, he wasn't necessarily talking about like literal wild animals on the earth. Although there have been some animal tragedies, the people going out there messing with them animals, they be getting ate up. Yeah. It have been some out there, what I'm saying. But what he was speaking on was a comparison of violent men to wild beasts and how they would be acting in our time. And look what it said about it. It said, her princes in the midst of her are like wolves, tearing prey and shedding blood, and destroying souls for the purpose of making unjust gain. Now, look at the part where it says destroying souls for unjust gain. Mm-hmm. We just spoke about this and all the money that's being spent. The billions of dollars on war and fighting wars. By doing this, they are destroying souls for the purpose of their personal gain. For money and power. That's what they're doing. So answering the question, has this prophecy come true? Are we seeing it fulfilled? Yes, it's happening right before our eyes. It's exactly what these people is doing. That's why the majority of we can even say the majority of the world problems is because of them. For real.
All of the world problems. You got to see without the tempter. And I know what you ain't saying it ain't like that, but I'm saying it's on second thought when you think about it. Because without the tempter, bro, you're talking about Adam and Eve just still naming things. They coming up with things and names and got children all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't even a thought in their mind.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Without the adversary, so without having a thought like that. So, and unfortunately, this world is not thinking in any kind of context of what God wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? They may say that they have started it in his name or whatever it is. I truly don't know how that was possible, but that I'm not here about that. You know what I'm saying? But if they would look towards his ways, and it's not like he's asking for a whole lot.
True.
You know what I'm saying? But these men believe in their power and they believe in their self more than anything. Why would you spend so much money on war if you trusted in something else? If you trust in God, you know what I'm saying? Because when he fought for Israel, fought for Jerusalem, some of the days he was like, y'all sit over there. Today I'm fighting the whole battle for y'all. You know what I'm saying?
True.
When
bro.
they trusted in him with that kind of thing. But I know it's not that kind of trust no more. But what I'm saying is they spending all this money on everything, trillions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? When there's money needed elsewhere, but they spending it because they nervous about their own safety.
Yeah, exactly.
They think that that's going to have an outcome on their life, on their length of their life, or whatever.
And where they getting it from anyway? I want to know. See, when they need it, they can go print some of it up.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But that's why I said, man, money made out of paper, man. Give us some of that.
I mean, hold that trillion. I ain't know no trillion.
All right, so yeah. Next paragraph says, to answer the question, have we seen this? Has this been the case since 1914? He says, it certainly has. If you live in almost any big city on earth, you already know this. But if you doubt it, just consider the following recent newspaper quotations. From Colombia, last year the police recorded about 10,000 murders and 25,000 armed robberies. From Victoria, Australia, big jump in major crime. From the United States, slayings in New York headed for a record high. Detroit overtook Gary, Indiana last year as the major city with the highest murder rate in the nation. 58%, 1,000 inhabitants. From Zimbabwe, infant murders have assumed crisis proportions. From Brazil, there is so much crime here and so much toting of weapons that news of violence just doesn't generate much excitement anymore. From New Zealand, sexual attacks and violent crime continue to be a major concern for police. New Zealanders' level of violence toward each other could only be described as barbaric. From Spain grapples with a growing crime problem. From Italy, Sicilian mafia, after setbacks, revive in wave of killings. These are just a small sample of newspaper reports appearing shortly before the publication of this book. Surely, wild beasts are prowling the earth, causing people to tremble for their safety. Now, these statistics given is what's happening at that time. Again, we live in the 21st century.
Oh man, look here.
But have you seen that? Have the headlines gotten any better or any more pleasant?
Shoot.
Not at all.
Have we seen it?
They've doubled, bro. They've doubled, bro. It's like the Bible tells us that this will go, that it's going to go from bad to worse. We say it all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From bad to worse. And that's exactly what has happened. From bad to worse. Nothing has gotten better. It's only gotten worse. We've gotten so much further away from the aspect of peace and security. You know, although we may hear these politicians talking about it, they chasing after it, but they can never get it because it's out. Like we said before, it's out of their hands.
Word up, bro.
What's set in motion, they couldn't change it if they wanted to.
Nah.
They're not gonna get a change of heart and be like, "Oh, we've been doing wrong. We're gonna." That's not gonna happen.
The wheels are spinning.
The wheels are spinning. The system is running them.
Yep.
They think they created the system, but they didn't. Like the devil,
exactly, bro.
Inspired them, just like God inspired His people to write this book.
Yeah.
The devil inspired them to create this system.
Yep.
That's why it was made like this. It's not a mistake, man. Come on, like it's been like this ever since there was a system.
Yep, that's their system. That's the system of this
We
world.
even did a show about voting, and we broke it down to where how they had the same, they had the same kind of setup. You know what I'm saying? They was politicians back in the day. It all started back with Nimrod, the very first politician.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So this has been like this system has been in place for years, and nobody going against it in this world is going to fare good. you might get some people to sue the government, or you might beat the system.
Yep.
Every now and then, you know, they slip up too. But you know what I'm saying? You're not going to bring it down.
Yep. You heard of
And they're not going to change it.
Only of Christ to do those type of things to, you know what I'm saying, outwit the enemy, because that's what happened when that system was set up before. And you know what I'm saying, the wise men knew where the young baby was, but the king asking for, like, you know, when y'all find him, tell me where he at. You know what I'm saying? He want to find out for a whole nother reason. You know what I'm saying? So he can do some, you know, terrible things to him, because he heard a prophecy going along with what we talking about right now. The prophecy said there'd be a king born. He didn't know about that till somebody tell him about that. And he's like, oh, he think that's a threat to him. You know what I'm saying? So he makes his way to try to do something detrimental. But as you can see, baby was born, you know what I'm saying? Was crucified for us, rose up, and we got salvation. So that didn't work for the enemy.
But nothing will. Like it's a dying system. That's another thing. It's a dying system. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on its last leg.
Yeah.
The other one gone. It's on its last leg. I'm telling you, it's on its last. It's battered, bruised, and the fighting is doing amongst itself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
the battery's taken out
taking
and it's still going. You know what I'm saying? It ain't.
Definitely.
It ain't. It's unplugged and it's still going. You know what I'm saying? That's how thick it is. I feel bad for our kids though, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna be on this part too long, but you know, on the reals, these kids is different than any kids I've seen. They do have an animalistic attitude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They got a mind state of some old. They want to be the way that they are because they don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that just hit me so much with it. They seem to want to like what they doing. Yeah. They don't realize later on in life they're gonna realize I don't even like this. You know what I'm saying? Just like
on the other podcast, we talked about how we're being trained to love violence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they're being trained to be wild beasts.
Yeah, man.
Like for real. You know what I'm saying? Like when you told to play sports, you're taught to dominate, crush them.
Yep.
Crush them, pound them, punish them.
Be a beast.
Pummel.
That's what the words say. That's what they, you know what I'm saying?
Be a beast. I'm a beast. I'm a monster.
Yep. It's supposed to be a horrible, something horrible to deal with, you know?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just instilled in everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you heavily indulge in this world, that's how you're going to turn out. It's going to be like that. So jumping into the last paragraph and the last subheading, it says, without any doubt, we are witnessing the fulfillment of the great sign that Jesus gave. This fact adds to the evidence that the Bible is indeed inspired by God. No human could have foretold so long in advance the events that would take place during this 20th century. Moreover, the fulfillment of the signs means that we are living in the time of Jesus' presence and of the conclusion of the system of things. What is the significance of this? What is involved in Jesus' presence, and what is the system of things that is concluding? To answer these questions, we need to consider another strong evidence of inspiration of the Bible, its remarkable internal harmony. We will discuss this next and see how the Bible's major theme is even now approaching an awe-inspiring climax. Indeed, the next chapter will be as great as they all are, you know what I'm saying? But in closing, I will say this. First of all, you want anything you want to say about this whole...
Just not like the prophecy, like the prophecy situation. It just lets you know what I'm saying, time is ticking. Because I understand, ain't nobody looking at nobody, you know what I'm saying, wrong. And that's why I love the Lord, because he ain't looking at us crazy as he could be because of we not paying attention. But the way that their system is set, it's got us in this race of got to get capital, got to get cash. I'm held down here, got to get this. Children act crazy. This one, it got so much attention being going this way and that way, and it seems like such uneven distribution of things. You know what I'm saying? They got the police doing this and that with their situation. It's just a lot of things that people is dealing with. Not just black folks, but we dealing with a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, everybody dealing with something. But with all those things, it makes it hard to see some of these signs of time. Because some people like, hey man, the first coming up, I got to pay my rent. or my lights is out and this and that. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord get it. We get it. But you know, what I'm trying to say is pay attention to some of these things. That's what this show is about. If it do tug on you for a minute, pay a little more attention to that. You know what I'm saying? God don't want your money. He ain't saying give no preacher his money. You know what I'm saying? You feel like giving somebody something after they did something for you, do it. You want to give 10% of your growth, do it. You know what I'm saying? But he don't want your stuff. That ain't what he's saying. Sign up with him. Pay more attention to how his life, that he want the life for you. Because that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. So that's my long-winded last word of that part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to, close and say, like we really enjoy doing this podcast and coming to talk to y'all about, God and the promises, that he made for us in the future and all this. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't getting paid for this, and we choose to do this because we know how important it is to broadcast this message, because there's already a lot of propaganda and like garbage being broadcasted across the airs, you know what I'm saying, already. So, you know what I'm saying, we trying to do our part and reach those who we can. We know we ain't gonna reach everybody. Yeah. But we know we're gonna we just want to make sure we do our part. And the reason why is because of a scripture. It's in 2 Timothy 4:3 where it says, "So there will be a period of time when they will not put up with the wholesome teaching, but according to their own desires, they will surround themselves with teachers to have their ears tickled." Mm-hmm. So this is why it's important for us to bring this message to you while we can, because just like the scriptures say, they're not going to always put up with this teaching. You know what I'm saying? They're going to cut us off. They're going to make accusations and, you know what I'm saying, say we did something we wasn't supposed to do, and you know what I'm saying, all this. All that. And, because they have done everything to replace the teachings of God. You know what I'm saying? And,
they just tickle in the ears.
We know, we already know that the teachings of man is foolishness. The wisdom of the world is foolishness. Like people, it's crazy. Like people, like I said, like people love to have their ears tickled. And these days, like people will only listen to motivational speakers just telling them things that they want to hear. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Telling them how to go get money. You know what I'm saying? Telling them how to have a successful life. How to, you know what I'm saying? How to build a better business. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll listen to social media influencers. You know what I'm saying? To tell them to go lick the toilet. Go in the public bathroom during a pandemic, or pour some hot water on yourself. Yeah, scalding hot water on yourself. These are the kind of things you see people doing today, bro. Like,
I done seen some.
We gotta be smart. You know what I'm saying? Because the time we do have left is reduced. We in the last of the last days. Yeah. Please remember and pay attention to these particular prophecies, because they have been fulfilled. And in a minute, you're going to look around thinking that it ain't that important. And it's going to be the most important thing you never did.
Most important.
You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, man, I just want to say the truth is always talking.
Gotta shut up and listen.
Truth talk, truth, make the truth talk, truth talk.
Is always talking.
You just gotta listen.
Real talk.